Hello, in today's video lesson we are going to analyze quadratic functions when they're written in standard form. This is going to cover a complete analysis except for the x-intercepts. We're going to work on that later. We've got a few more skills to pick up. But when working in standard form, we're going to do a lot of things like we did when we were in Vertex Form. Like, for example, we can get a quick sketch of what we think this is going to look like. So that's from another lesson. There's a video that goes with that. But in general, I can tell that there's going to be an upward opening parabola that's going to dip a little to the right because of that -8. It's telling me that we're going to go down this way before coming back up again. Then a free low-hanging fruit is basically put in 0 for x to get the y-intercept. Most people can tell that the y-intercept is going to be 0, 3 without doing this work, but I would like us to remind ourselves that the y-intercept is the value of the function when x is 0. Keep telling yourself that every time so that it becomes second nature. Now the new part is we learned that there is a formula which will tell you where the axis of symmetry is based on the a coefficient and the b coefficient. Specifically, if we take the opposite of b and divide it over 2a, then we will have wherever the value of x that makes the parabola turn around. In this case, the b value is -8, so I put -8 in parentheses. We have the opposite of -8 over 2 times a is 2, so 2 times 2. -8 opposite is +8. 2 times 2 is 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So x equals 2 is the axis of symmetry. Now, in order to find the vertex, I simply put the value of the axis of symmetry into the original function. A little bit of arithmetic here, and I get -5 as the coordinates of my vertex. Now, because we know the a value is 2, ax squared minus bx, so the a is 2. I also know the vertex 2, -5. I can now put this into vertex form. Before I do that, I'm going to quick find the bonus point. Remember, the bonus point is because of symmetry. If we have a point at 0, 3, we have an axis of symmetry at 2, then twice the axis of symmetry will be back up where we started again. So we have f of 0 is the same as f of 4, which is twice the axis of symmetry, gives us y is 3. Vertex form, I know the a value is 2, I know that h is 2, and k is -5. And to verify that this is in fact the same exact form as this one right here, I'm going to FOIL out the x minus 2 again, get this, distribute the 2 to get this, and then subtract the 5, and I end up with an expression that is exactly the same as the one given. If I put all this information together, I graph the axis of symmetry and label it, and then I put in the vertex, the y-intercept, and the bonus point, and do that, I'm good to go. Now later on we're going to find or calculate the x-intercepts, but right now I can kind of get an approximate value of the x-intercepts based on my drawing. We know there's a point here because we go over 1 up 2, and then we go over 2 up 8, so we can tell we're going to cross in here and cross in here somewhere. Anyway, verify everything on Desmos to make sure that your vertex is where it's supposed to be, axis of symmetry, everything else should all line up. Do the same process again. This time I'll go a little bit more quickly. We make a mental sketch. So it's a downward opening parabola that's going to dip off to the right, and that's because we're going to go up for a little while before ultimately we go back down again. Up for a little while, back down again. The y-intercept is at g of 0, nice and easy, 0, 2. Axis of symmetry, opposite of b over 2a. I write that formula every time, and then substitute in the a and b values and get a simplified version. Now that I have the axis of symmetry, I'm going to put in 5/2 because it's easier to calculate to find the rest of the vertex. It's a little bit of arithmetic. Some of you might struggle with this. Nonetheless, it's good practice. So I get 8 1/4 as the highest point of this particular graph when x is 2 1/2. Because I know the a value is -1, I put the -1 there. Because I know the vertex is 2 1/2, 8 1/4, I put the 2 1/2, 8 1/4, like this. So now I have vertex form. I can FOIL that out again, distribute the negative, add 8 1/4, it'll get me right back where I started. So that's how you check. Bonus point, the axis of symmetry is at 2 1/2. If I double that, I get 5. So if I'm at 0, 2, I'll also be at 5, 2. Put all that information together, produce a nice little graph, all the details. And remember, if you want to get a better quality graph, I mean, mine looks pretty good, but you get better, you can go over 1, down 1, over 2, down 4. That's one way to do this. You can use your symmetry points as well. So, hope you find that helpful. Thanks for watching.